Okay, as some of you may know, I done a US dollar problems video a long time ago, and compared to my other videos, it got quite a lot of views. So I decided that, yeah, people do want to hear about financial stuff. So that inspired me to make more financial videos. And some of the stuff I talked about in that US dollar problems was from a bloke known as the Barefoot Investor, who's also known as Scott Pape. I've been reading one of the more recent bits he's put in the paper, and it seems he's on the path to becoming a father. And I wanted to take this video and talk about getting suckered into buying a heap of crap, because when he was at a prenatal class here, during the lunch break they started talking about the money side of kids. And as he said here, truth be told, there are many similarities between finances and starting a family. He means investment finances. Both are backed by massive industries that make money by manipulation. They pull on the heartstrings, they exploit your fears, and they play on what he calls your knowledge gap, or, as I like to think of it, not knowing something and getting suckered in because you didn't know about something. And, then he goes on about saying that next thing you're getting sold prams that cost more than his first car cost and claim to be safer and more reliable, expensive pills because you don't want to think that your baby might be getting the right vitamins, and insanely expensive baby clothes that could double as a tea cozy but are about the same price as equivalent adult clothes. There's a lot of things with off-gridding that you can easily get suckered into, and there's so many people I've come across who's setting up RVs and they got suckered over a solar system. Heaps of them did. That seems to be a very common one. They set up an RV and they get suckered over a solar system because, while they might understand RVs, they haven't really had a lot to do with setting them up so they can be used wherever, sort of thing. Well, they may have a good idea of building and how to, plumb the thing and build the cupboards and whatnot, and make it all fit into the tight space that you've got inside an RV. They, never really had much to do with solar, and they got suckered into basically buying their solar stuff at the same place that was selling all the RV accessories, the water pumps, the this, the that, all the bits and pieces. That same place would have sold solar stuff, and they'd just be sort of, oh, this is what you want, we've got this here, bang, 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 and they just sold what the salesman wants to sell them, not something that'll actually work for them. And they get pushed into, buying a trickle charger, told that, oh, this will charge your batteries. Well, lead-acid batteries have self-discharge, and a trickle charger keeps up with that. And the idea of a trickle charger is to use it in a tractor or a truck or a car that doesn't get used very often. And if you only start it up once a month or less, when you come to it, the battery will be full. Oh, I've got hiccups here. The battery will be full because the trickle charge has been keeping ahead of or keeping up to the self-discharge. But it won't actually charge your batteries, and other people are sucking into buying a charge controller, which is not really, much more than a bloomin', an LED light that just sits there blinking away at them, or something like that. Charge controllers that are just junk, essentially. And, that's one of the reasons I make a lot of these videos, is to help you avoid the pitfalls and the dumb things and the stupid stunts, the stupid crap they're trying to push at you that should have been in the dump before it even got to the shelf. But yeah, there's different ways they can play on your heartstrings, They can play on your fears, and they can play on your lack of knowledge. And the other one I see a lot of stuff, it's just marketing commotion, is green stuff. Oh man, like, there's so much of green stuff, almost all of it is just smoke and mirrors and just emotion and feely, touchy-feely. You know, I see stupid ones. There's one over here that got about bottled water and how you can be more green to the environment by buying our brand of bottled water because it uses these really thin bottles. And these bottles only take 1/6 of the plastic, so therefore you're being nice to the environment. Well, they fail to mention the fact that when you put that bottle in a standard local government bin, it actually gets recycled and used as sleeping bag insulation, because people don't know that sort of stuff. A lot of these yuppies who, you know, and these, well, it's mainly young women in their 20s who, you know, are white-collar workers or shopaholics who buy a lot of that bottled water, who, you know, don't know that, so they can get suckered into that one. And you're saying, well, it is good the bottles are thinner. Maybe so. They're very weak, crappy bottles, I can tell you that. You wouldn't bother reusing them. They're that weak. Whereas other plastic bottles you might reuse for other things. But let's face it, like, seriously, is bottled water, buying a bottle of water in a package, it's excess packaging. Is that really clean and green, buying bottled water? Because I think having an actual proper water bottle and filling it up with tap water is probably more cleaner and green. And I know that some of the spring water does taste a bit different from tap water. I understand that. But if you just want water, I have a water bottle, and I find that's a lot less clean and green than having all these plastic bottles, you know, being made. But there's a massive amount of things in the green industry, so to speak, that are just literally emotion and hype. So don't get suckered in to some of these things. I've put plenty of videos up about solar. If you're going to get a solar panel system, the Harbor Freight 45 watt ones are alright. But a real solar panel, what I consider real, is one that has an aluminium rim around the outside. And it's a flat panel with an aluminium edging on it around the outside. And that flat panel is sort of reasonably firm. Now you'll find out something too. Those flat panels can handle the odd hailstone or two, or are supposed to, because they're built to withstand, or at least the ones I've got, the aluminium frame ones, are built to withstand a 1-inch diameter hailstone hitting them, you know, falling from the sky, obviously. Whereas some of these other ones with the soft fronts on them and all that, like, you know, particularly the amorphous ones with the soft front, they might not handle a hailstone hitting them very well. So I always recommend buying the aluminium framed ones and getting a charge controller with it, and, you know, make sure it's a proper one. If it says some rubbish and you don't understand it, well, I'll tell you the words you're looking for, and that's PWM, pulse width modulation. Now, if it's got that on there, that's your standard one, and that's going to be all right. If it's got MPPT, that's maximum power point tracking. They are really good. You'll notice there's a bit of a price jump with them, but they are really good due to technical things. You can actually get more power out of it. It's a scientific technicality that involves a bit of mathematical explanation, but you can get a lot more power, 30% often, between 10 to 30%, some claim even 40% extra power with MPPT. But look, if you want to learn a bit more stuff, just go through all my videos. And yeah, the best way of all is to learn about something prior to going and buying something, instead of just going to the shop and saying, I want to buy this, because they'll hand you whatever they can hand you without you arcing up saying that's a crap one. So, you know, do a bit of your homework, and that'll save you from getting suckered, basically. But sort of keep in mind that the best solar panels are not bought at auto stores and hardware stores. They're bought at electronic supply stores. That's where you get real panels from. And you don't get real batteries in electronic stores either. You go to places that sell car batteries and big turnover places, and you get deep cycles from them. Or the other one is places that deal with electric forklifts. They'll sell you brilliant batteries that are probably even better than the ones you can get from the car joint. But to go to an electronics store, there's so many of those batteries that just sit on the shelf and just mould away. And the same goes for these automotive stores. Those deep cycles, they've been sitting there for flipping ages, and they're deteriorating already because they've been sitting there for so long. But yeah. So yeah, you know, just if you do your homework and understand things, and you can understand them by watching my videos and watching other people's videos who do a lot of this sort of stuff, to avoid getting suckered into buying a heap of crap.